So, hello, fellow Earthlings. This is Earthling 6455463728. And Trump can totally beat democracy, even just with a minority. As usual, I'm Earthling, yada yada yada. I'm an ex-Army reservist. I traveled a bit when traveling was easier. I have a couple of degrees, and I take care of my uncle who has dementia. So, Mr. Trump, by all measures, looks like he's going to run for the presidency again of the United States of America. And many people have suggested that win or lose, this is going to be a bad one. Now, if he wins, clearly that's not going to be the best idea when it's time for him to leave again. Because let's say, if the Capitol riots were, just an aberration. No, let's suggest that they're an aberration. He had nothing to do with them. Did he have anything to do with all of the people who were saying that he should institute martial law? Did he have anything to do with the piece of paper that the My Pillow guy had, that someone used a telescopic lens when he was visiting the White House, and it said martial law is the last resort? Did he have anything to do with, saying that if he lost, the election was stolen, and if he won, the election was fine, and he was gonna deal with the election like that, and then he did? So yeah, it's clearly not a good thing if he wins. But people have also mentioned the fact that even if he loses, it's going to be a problem anyway, because he's going to do the same thing again. He's going to say that, hey, that is not, it's not fair, it was stolen, blah, blah, blah. And the same people are going to believe him. Are they going to be in a majority at that point? I don't think so. I think it's probably going to be a minority of people that believe him. But it doesn't matter. There's this ex-senator, what's his name? I can't remember this guy's name, but he was a Democratic senator. And he said that he used to be a comedian and he went into politics. And he said that he would go to entertain the troops from time to time. And wherever he went, Fox News, Fox News, Fox News, Fox News, Fox News was always on. There are a lot of different channels, all right? People don't have to be watching news, certainly not for Fox News. So the military, is it based on his say-so? No. If you're in the military, you believe in military values. They don't even believe in adultery. They were very late with respect to allowing gay people to be in the military. They were very much against it. They certainly believe. I mean, I don't know that I should have to convince, or it should take much effort to convince anybody that members of the military are right-leaning. Now, how do you take over a country? Well, usually it's not with the carpenters. You don't normally need the carpenters to run a country, meaning by force. You usually use the military. So if the military is definitely right-leaning and you're a right-leaning candidate who is saying that the election was stolen from you, normally, yeah, in a situation like that, you probably, if you want to take over the country and if you want to use the military to illegally declare martial law, well, it sounds like you're pretty much very much on your way there. If most Republicans believe Mr. Trump, and most of the people in the military watch Fox News, not even like, a movie channel is what this guy is saying. It's in his impression, and it's anybody's belief. I mean, it's a clear belief that military people are conservative and right-leaning, that if Mr. Trump, and the main way people take over countries is with military, he's going to have the military backing to take over. Right now, different people are trying to, and not just the military, but the police as well. So there was an article that I read recently where they were saying that people were trying to, let's say they're Democrats. People were trying to put laws and policies in place to make sure that members of, the National Police Force in America were not members also of white supremacist groups in America. And apparently they have been getting pushback from police unions saying that they agree, but they don't agree with the actual policies put in place or desired to be put in place. Meaning that they were saying any member of the police force who at any time used to be a member of a white supremacist group, they would be ineligible to, I guess, either join or perhaps continue in their employment as a police officer. Now, this seemed to the relevant police unions to be a potential infringement on the constitutional free speech of members of the police force. And the idea, they're saying also that the definition of what constitutes a white supremacist group was being defined too loosely. So I don't know how this is going to end up, because, there's going to be a lot of different police departments. I don't know if this was at a congressional level in the U.S. or not. But if you're getting pushback, lip service, yeah, we agree with you, but not with these exact measures. If you're getting pushback at the beginning, that is not like the best indicator of what's to come. From my point of view, I don't know. And if you're getting pushback at the beginning, it also to me suggests that you already are too late, and existing members of the police forces that are resisting probably fit the criteria of people that you don't want in the police force. And beyond that, these are powerful people in the police unions, which is itself very powerful. And yeah, it does not look too promising for what can be achieved in the place that you really need this thing to happen. Now, part of what I was saying was that Mr. Trump can trump democracy with a minority. And you might be like, well, is that the minority that you mean, the police and the army? Yeah, definitely. But beyond that, I don't know if that's enough people still. But it is the important people. And that's really my point. Even if Republicans in the U.S. were not close to half of the people in the U.S., as long as most of the people, and then, that's another one, that's kind of thing. Republicans are more likely to have guns. Just not the police, not the army, just regular people are more likely to have guns. So, yeah, it is really a possibility that Mr. Trump has the people who are in positioned just right to enforce what he says. I mean, if you want to look at militias of people, if in most neighborhoods, just forming themselves into, I don't want to say gangs, but gangs of people who are just riding around your neighborhood, making sure that everything that Mr. Trump has suggested, the police, the Republican leadership has suggested, is being enforced or done the way that he wants, whether he's elected again or not. And, one of the best examples, and maybe it's a sad example of this as well, is that most of the world is not American. But America has the biggest military in the world. The biggest military to the point that it dwarfs the combined militaries of most other countries in the world. Not every single country in the world, but it doesn't have to be every single country in the world. Let's say the combined military force of the UK, Germany, and France were equivalent to the power of the US. It isn't, but let's say that it was. In a instant, an English-speaking person, a German-speaking person, and a French-speaking person, or people, or groups, are supposed to work together with no training, planning, whatever. They are going to work together as an effective unit to combat the will of America? Yeah, no, that's not going to happen. All right, add in Japan. So now you have English speaking, Japanese speaking, French and German are going to go up against the single language prowess and practice of the US military. No, that doesn't make any sense. And it hasn't made any sense because aside from language, there is the exact choices of each of those countries' leaders as to what to do next. Let's say they were all English speaking. Would they all agree as to what to do next in any given situation? Would they be able to react to what the US military is doing? No. So, yeah. Most people are not American, but America can do what it wants militarily, practically speaking. America might not always decide to do that. Sometimes it might decide, well, let's pretend that we're going to go to the UN and gather a coalition of tiny little countries that depend on us for tourism and whatever else, and call that a coalition of people. Hey, look, we have 25 countries that are all each under 2 million people, but we have a coalition. But my point is, even if most people in the world disagree with something that America is doing, it doesn't matter. America can do it anyway. And even if most people in America don't vote for Mr. Trump, and he maybe at the behest of other people, or maybe at the behest of himself, decides to, suspend elections for a year while they go over take an audit of the vote and voting to recount everything. Even if he's not in power, he could just simply say, members of the military, and that's another thing. There are a whole bunch of generals that recently came out, ex-generals, retired generals, that came out and said, 129 of them, that came out and said that in a letter that, the election was stolen from Mr. Trump. Now that's pretty scary, actually. Luckily, the details of it make it less scary. Most of these people have been retired since 2000, so it's not like active duty people who are saying this kind of stuff. Most of these people are not 3-star generals and above, but the point is that it's unheard of for generals to do this kind of thing. Anyway, those are my scary thoughts. Feel free to like, dislike, comment, subscribe, any of that good stuff. Have a good one. Peace.